Welcome back everyone to another Company Fears 2 replay cast, and this time it's gonna be a 3v3 sent in by someone of this game. I got a YouTube message telling me that this game was up on Kotu.org and I should cast it. And it's one of these players, I do not know who exactly, but it is an in-house bread on bottom that bread is an in-house 3v3 of the CB clan plus Gentle Fox, who is a very high ranked access 1v1 player normally. But yes, these are very strong players for team games. It is a 3v3 on Across the Rhine. Players are Antania playing as the Wehrmacht in the southern spawn, Gentle Fox playing as the Wehrmacht again in the central spawn, and in north spawn LL Nyang playing as the OKW. On the allies, we have Puska playing as the USF, Get Wrecked playing as the UKF, and Landwehr playing as the UKF as well. So 2 UKF versus 2 Wehrmacht in the south, OKW versus USF in the north. Now, interestingly, already a mortar coming out for Puska. He definitely doesn't want anybody building any defenses on him, and he wants that additional firepower for clearing out any buildings. Right now, he's going to get a bit rushed by a Kubuwagen, but the Kubuwagen is going to meet the wall that is these rear echelon troops in the building, so it is going to have to retreat. In the meantime, in the southern part of the map, we do see some engagements between the Ostruppen of Antania and the British infantry. Interesting cooperation coming here, a Vickers machine gun plus a trench coming up from Get Wrecked and Landwehr. That's going to be enough to stop the Ostruppen, but probably not enough to stop a considered German push in the south, comprising also a mortar. We do not see a mortar from the Germans out yet, so clearly not much into the mortar game. The Ostruppen managed to get into cover, and the machine gun wisely repositions a little bit further south to a more safe position, so that they can fire on the Ostruppen while maintaining itself a little bit removed from any flanking maneuvers in the north, and we do see flanking maneuvers indeed abound. Here comes two infantry squads, an Ostruppen and a Grenadier, trying to overrun the British, and the Spickers might con crossfire. He does not, well, he sees the flank coming in, and the Ostruppen are going to get repulsed, thankfully, for the Brits by the infantry sections, and now they're in the open against the Vickers, and they're going to take a lot of damage, but they're buying time for the MG42 to deal damage to the Vickers. Overall engagement in the south should be going in the favor of the British. Indeed, the Ostruppen do retreat, but at the same time in the center, the Grenadiers from Gentle Fox have been pushing through, and there's pretty much nothing that the Brits can do to stop them because they have focused themselves on the southern part of the map, and so that's pretty bad for them. Kubuwagen chasing down the Rifleman, very close to wiping out the squad, but not enough. Nice save on Puska's Rifleman. He does have 3 Rifleman squads being produced, and one of them is going back to base, so effectively 2 Rifleman squads available to fight right now. Medical supplies being deployed by the Sturmpyos. Definitely wants to keep his troops topped up and ready to go near the front while he waits for the supply truck. Not sure what the supply truck is going to be used for. Maybe a mechanized regiment because he deployed those medical supplies. I do not know. Or maybe he will just go for a battle group headquarters near the base. Who knows? In the meantime, the Germans have complete control over the center. The VP game is pretty much still, as you'd expect in the early stages. One of the VPs is under the control of the Allies, so not a lot of VP bleed on any of the sides. Right now, very big German push from Gentle Fox. 4 Grenadiers plus a Flamethrower Pioneer, so he wants to have that anti-infantry firepower to absolutely wreck the Brits. But the problem is, here comes the mortar support from Puska's USF forces, and, well, that's kind of bad, combined with the infantry push from the Brits counterattacking the Germans, and one of the Grenadiers might go down with concentrated fire from these infantry sections. There are some Royal Engineers in the fight being forced to retreat, and also a Vickers deployed to help the Brit infantry in the area, also providing some fire support. Very nice push from the Brits, and I like that because right now they absolutely need to regain control over the center, because that's going to allow them to help Puska in the north, because right now Puska is being pushed back by LL Nyang, and so he needs some support from the Brits. And if the Brits hold up in the south and let Gentle Fox just take the center and hold it, then they're not going to really be able to support their ally in the north quite as much. Oh, very unfortunate. Machine gun facing south to fire at the Ostrupen gets flanked by the Grenadiers, but the Grenadiers themselves are being flanked from the path over here between the bunker and the south part of the map by a couple of infantry sections. So the Grenadiers are going to have to retreat very soon, but they fire a rifle grenade and they're going to retreat with a bang, wiping out an entire infantry section. Very, very good job with that rifle grenade. And Landwehr is not very happy about that. He was not expecting the cheeky rifle grenade. These troops were in completely open terrain, so they weren't really getting any cover bonuses, and plus they were also kind of huddled up because of the narrow path that they were taking. So they were also taking huge AoE damage, and speaking of huge AoE damage, here comes a 251 Flame Half-Track from Antania. Interesting choice. He definitely wants to destroy all these MGs, and yeah, Half-Track is pretty much exactly what he wants to buy for something like that. He's going to chase down the Brits right after the forward HQ of Get Wrecked, but Get Wrecked buys a Piat at the last possible second to try, at least, to destroy the Flame Half-Track. Flame Half-Track does wipe one of the infantry sections and takes a Piat to the face, in fact 2 of them, but still lives and manages to escape. This is going to be such a huge nuisance for the Brits, who have smaller squads and even smaller will to move from their defensive positions sometimes. So in general, the Flame Half-Track is exactly the unit that you want to have, especially after the patch changes to it. And with 3 Pioneer squads available to the Wehrmacht in the south between the 2 players, you can repair that Half-Track very, very quickly. The counter is the AEC on the field for Landwehr right now. Puska right now has the Lieutenant here up and running, so maybe he's gonna go for a flak Half-Track. Not sure. It could be in his sights, but considering the 90 fuel that he has in the bank, I'm thinking that he's gonna be going for a major later. Get Wrecked, in the meantime, does also have the platoon command post up and running, but none of the upgrades have been researched, so I'm not sure what he wants to do. Flame Half-Track also really good to take out the trenches, which so far the British players have been making pretty liberal use of, as they probably should be. And of course, gonna be fairly useful at taking out the forward HQ as well, and maybe if they can get close enough to the French war emplacement. But I'm thinking that the Brits, now that they know that the flak Half-Track is abound, they're gonna start to purchase AT guns. In fact, I'm very surprised that the American player hasn't purchased an AT gun, knowing that LL Yang has gone for the Lukes. Well, maybe not knowing, now he definitely knows, but LL Yang going for the Lukes is indeed very dangerous for the... Oh, right, he hasn't purchased an AT gun because he hasn't gone for the captain. Right, never mind. I haven't thought about that yet. Yeah. That's kind of a problem for Puska. He might have to sort of side tech to the captain as a answer to the Lukes. I'm not sure he's actually going to do that, but I think that it would be the safe choice for him. He has gone for a lot of bazookas. In fact, even upgrading one of his rifleman squads with some bazookas, well, one of them, just to have that extra anti-tank capabilities against the Lukes. Although the additional anti-tank from the bazookas is very welcome for the Americans, it isn't really going to be enough to take out the Lukes, just to the turret. And that's going to be really left to the later game tanks. In fact, I do see the major coming out of Puska. I do agree that if he wants to take out the Lukes, he absolutely needs to grab some armor for himself. Considering his income right now, he's going to be able to get a Sherman in 5 or 6 minutes, so he should be able to use that to pretty much good advantage against the lighter vehicles of the Mechanized Regiment headquarters. El Yang could be going for a Puma as a preemptive measure, but I'm not sure that would be the best decision out of him. I think that a Panzer headquarters for him would be better, or maybe even a Stuka. A Stuka to counter the pretty substantial infantry and also the mortar on the field for Puska. Going in the center, we do see a sniper from Gentle Fox. Only gotten 1 kill, so very much a recent purchase. I think he got the sniper to spot for the AT gun. I think he might have gotten the sniper for a spotter unit, or maybe just has a kind of a bleed mechanism against the infantry sections. Now that the infantry sections will start to get very, very strong with their weapon upgrades and also their increased infantry sizes, Maybe that's why he got the sniper. Very weird choice to get a sniper so late for the Wehrmacht. Perhaps he was afraid of getting the sniper earlier because of the nerfs to the camouflage of the sniper, so he wanted to have a sort of coherent infantry line and support weapon line to protect it against threats such as light vehicles and also of course infantry. Who knows? Right now, Get Wrecked is very low on units. I think he lost the AEC. Or was that... No, Landwehr is the one with the AEC, right. Interestingly, what is Get Wrecked going for? He's going for a lot of infantry upgrades. He has both the weapon racks and the infantry size increase. In the meantime, in the south, the Germans have managed to destroy the British defenses, and they have a couple of Ostrupen squads trying to capture the points, but they're going to go down from the Royal Engineers, infantry sections, and also the AEC pushing down in the area. There's a couple of packs on the field for the Germans, clearly a bit ahead on the AT gun race of the Allies. Of course, that's going to be very useful against the AEC, but so far the Allies in the south really haven't gone for a lot of vehicles. It is best to be prepared, though, however, for any kind of eventuality. Especially against the Brits, because, well, if you go ahead and get a couple of AT guns early, you kind of shut down the Cromwell option a little bit if you combine them with mines, which is really, in my opinion, the only... that might have been a mine, but the only kind of a mistake that I'm seeing the Germans make in the south is the lack of mines. I would have liked to see a couple of tellers going up from Gentlefox, both Gentlefox and Antania, because they both have quite a decent reserve of munitions. Now, Gentlefox has gone for the Blitzkrieg doctrine, which means that later on he will have access to the Stuka close air support ability, which is probably the reason why he hasn't upgraded any of his Grenadiers with LMGs yet, because he wants to save up some munitions for the usage of Reconnaissance Overflight and later Stuka close air support, because they're very powerful abilities that can indeed turn the tide, one with intelligence and another one with armor destruction. Antania, though, however, he has the Ostrupen, which means that later he will have the supply drop zone, so he can essentially replenish losses of munitions quite easily. I'm thinking that he should be, well, especially because he's gone for a lot of Ostrupen instead of Grenadiers as his mainline infantry. He really could have made use more of mines. Like, I think that he, even with him having two Pioneers, he could... also, he has Ostrupen, so that means even more construction power. He has two Pioneers, lots of Ostrupen, so he doesn't really need his Pioneers to be building things that are not mines right now. And I think that, yeah, some mines would be just really good for him. In the meantime, for the Brits, Get Wrecked is, again, kind of struggling. He's down to 3 infantry squads and a machine gun and 1 Piat Royal Engineer. He tried to rush the Fort HQ plus a lot of infantry upgrades, and it hasn't really been working out for him so far. The Germans have managed to capture the southern part of the map that they had earlier not been able to do, and that means that they have a triple cap going. 226 points left for the Allies means that they absolutely need to do something they are doing, which is wiping out Pioneers, wiping out Ostrupen as well. There we go, some results from the infantry first policy of Get Wrecked. And right now, Antania is going to have to fall back to his bunker, which is going to go down to the fire of the 3-inch mortar emplacement, I'm guessing, because the 3-inch mortar emplacement is indeed very powerful, along with the support of the infantry. Indeed, infantry sections very deceptively upgrading first with the Brands and then getting some Piats as well is exactly what you want to do sometimes, just to conceal what you actually have, what capabilities you actually have. AEC does indeed receive a couple of 80-gun shots to the face. So Landwehr, with the AEC, does have a bit of a versatility increase compared to his ally, Get Wrecked. So he does have a little bit more options when it comes to AT, and he has chosen the Vanguard operations, which means that he's going to have the Crocodile later as a sort of big trump card of anti-infantry firepower. But in general, he's still kind of hedging his bets and keeping his options open. He hasn't upgraded the tier 3 yet, but nor, I think, does he necessarily want to rush for the Crocodile without building a tier 3. He's gonna have enough... Ooh. Really? That's an interesting choice going in that bunker, but still. I don't think he wants to go for the... There we go. Mortar paying off and killing the MG. Very nice wipe on that unit, but unfortunately for the Brits, we're going to have the Pioneers actually regaining control of the weapon crew. And yes, so I don't think he's going to be going... There goes the mortar again, taking out the machine gun. So 2 mortars from Landwehr doing pretty much God's work in taking out tons of enemy units. And oh, I think the Panzer II has overstepped the Zolcom, and there it goes. Goes right into the fire of 2 6-pounders, which were kind of positioned in a bit of an ambush spot behind a lot of terrain that the Germans hadn't really been trotting upon lately. And also 2 mines kind of protecting the southern approach to the AT guns. Very nice job from the Brits, doing exactly what the Germans really haven't been able to do too much, which is lure the enemy vehicles in and also use mines. Now, LL Nyang has been using mines, and right now Antaria has gone for a Panzer IV, unlike his ally Gentlefox, who has also gone for a Panzer IV, which is weird. I think that they're kind of trying to stall for the Sure Panzer Headquarters late game from LL Nyang, who might be going for a Panther plus a Sturmtiger, or maybe a Sturmtiger into a Panther. Depends, because he has gotten the Elite Armored, which means that he really wants the Sturmtiger to wipe out enemy infantry units without them having the chance to, of course, escape, which is a very, very good idea. Let's just speed it up while there's just a bit of a stalemate back and forth. The Allies have been able to regain control over the center and the south, which has kind of saved them from the trap of the triple cap, of course. You don't really want to be falling into that black hole at all. Very nice coming in with the reinforcement bunker from the Germans, and a bit of a safe spot, but remember, the Allies do have quite a lot of artillery at their disposal. Very, very nicely for the Germans. So far, no Calliopes. The Tactical Support Company, though, is available for Pruska, and I'm thinking that he's going to go for that later. So far, he has a fairly strong infantry force, and he has indeed gone for the captain as well, backticking from the major. Interesting, not going for a Sherman. I guess he was afraid of the Panther coming in from LL Nyang, and when LL Nyang, I'm thinking, goes for the Sturmtiger, oh, he's going for a King Tiger. He's getting the 3rd command post. Can you go for a Sturmtiger and a King Tiger? I'm thinking yes, because they're just 2 very different... not sure. Panzer IV right now pushing in the north. Mistake. Not really coming in with the 2nd Panzer IV as well. And in these team games that are especially well coordinated, like in houses from clans and clan wars, you absolutely want to concentrate your armor as much as possible into one area, so that then when you actually make a push, you don't do things like this, sending in one of your tanks piecemeal to get destroyed by the enemy's combined arms forces. As you can see, the Brits were able to come in to support the Americans in this crucial fight with the AT guns, and using that plus the very nice usage of the snare coming in from the Americans to destroy the Panzer IV. And the 2nd Panzer IV comes in and piecemeal gets absolutely shot up by the 6-pounders and has to retreat. Right now, the Allies do have a bit of an advantage because of this. Here comes the artillery from the British base, firing on the British troops. A bit of a miscoordination there from the Brits. But yes, overall, the Allies coming out on top of this engagement, managing to force one of the Panzer IVs back to base with almost no HP and destroying the other. And in the meantime, the German infantry from the OKW player, LL Nyang, is kind of forced to stand alone. And standing alone they are doing with some pretty good success, because he has gone for a pretty ridiculously powerful infantry force with 2 Obersoldaten and 3 Volksgrenadiers, along with the usual Sturmpile and 2 Raketenwerfers. So LL Nyang, very much infantry focused, which can be useful. Ooh, here comes a Firefly. Can be very useful as a sort of a bulwark against any enemy advances. It can also be a fairly good pushing power and capping power instrument. But what really the fully infantry force does against you is that whenever the enemy comes in with vehicles and tries to overrun you, then when you decide to retreat, you retreat headlong into the base, because you don't really have a lot of support weapons to support your infantry in the front line. You cannot really make a fallback position, and such and such. Very nice job pushing in with the infantry sections from the Brits, but these two this one machine gun plus the sniper definitely working against them quite a lot. In the meantime, in the south, the Germans are starting to no, actually that's just a retreating crewman. Yeah, they're not really pushing in and trying to harass the Allied positions in the south, which is a shame. There's only a machine gun and a 17-pounder in the area, so really a couple of Ostruppen in the area might do a lot to at least force the Brits to send more troops back to the south. Of course, the two areas are covered by the mortar pits, but that's really about it, and maybe not enough. Ooh, here comes a railway artillery from Antania. Interesting choice. I think he called it in to at least try to destroy the 17-pounder. Two 17-pounders from Landwehr. That's why he didn't go for a tier 3. Although he has gone for the tier 3 as well, of course, because then, right, never mind. He has to unlock the 17-pounder, but that's why he hasn't gone for any vehicles. And why has Get Wrecked not gone for anything? Well, because he wanted to save up for the Sherman Firefly. And the Sherman Firefly is, of course, very, very useful whenever you have a lot of munitions at your disposal. Here comes the supply drop for the fuel. I'm guessing that th're trying to boost up LL Nyang so that he can get the King Tiger out quicker. Yeah, definitely going for the King Tiger at this point. Very nice usage of the coordination between the Ostruppen player Antania and the OKW player LL Nyang to get that King Tiger out a little bit faster. With the increased cost. Ooh, no, going for a Panther. Why? I mean, he's facing the American player who's going for a lot of infantry. So I'm guessing that the Panther really is meant as a response to the Firefly? But isn't that kind of self-defeating? I don't know. Ooh, Firefly hitting a mine. Very, very nice usage of mines from LL Nyang. Again, pushing in now with the Panzer IV, trying to capitalize upon the hitting of the mine, but not really quick enough. The full infantry force of Gentle Fox, plus with the Panzer IV. Panzer IV is trying to work closely together with the infantry, and now the command Panzer IV gonna be trying to provide support for the infantry blob of Gentle Fox. Gentle Fox has a lot of munitions at his disposal, and now he has unlocked the thing that he intends to use his munitions on, I'm thinking, is the close air support from the Stukas. No minesweepers from him. That's very, very dangerous, especially because they know that, well, I'm not sure they know, but now they know that the Brits are placing down mines. So absolutely kind of a dangerous. Oh, here comes the Stuka close air support, trying to destroy the Firefly, along with the German push from Gentle Fox. But again, where is his ally? Antania is kind of pulled back a little bit and not really supporting the push as much as he could be. Right now, of course, pulling back might be the safer option because of the 17-pounder. 17-pounder really needs to be destroyed before the push can begin in earnest with the support of the Panzers from both Gentle Fox and Antania. Right now, it seems like here comes a something. I'm hearing weird sounds, but it's just... Oh, right, the artillery support, not really doing much. One of the AT guns does go down, and here comes the infantry sections. All three of them fully replenished and vetted up. One of them doesn't have the Brenns, but the others do, and they absolutely mow down all of the German attackers at once. Very good job from Get Wrecked, coming into his allies' support. Here comes a railway artillery from Antania, but the railway artillery, after the first round, is going to be really, really inaccurate. The first round does indeed take a lot of its hit points off the 17-pounder, and indeed the 17-pounder just used the brace structure because of the German push, so very nice usage of the push to force the 17-pounder's brace, and then coming in with the killing shots, hopefully from the railway artillery. The two shots have brought it down to very, very low HP, but the third one misses. Very unfortunate. There might be a fourth one coming in. I don't really ever remember. No, free. Just free large caliber rounds. And the Panther in the north is not really working out for LL Nyang. It's allowing all of the American troops to just pour through with their kind of superior force now. And indeed, one of the Oberstleutnant were wiped out, and another one of the Volksgrenadier were wiped out. So American infantry on the rise and German infantry on the decline. Not very good when there's a Panther on the field instead of a King Tiger. Instead of the King Tiger that could have been. Weird choice, especially for the elite armor doctrine. I guess he wants to use the heat rounds with the Panther and the emergency repairs. Of course, I mean, with any vehicle that you're going for as the Germans, the elite armor is going to be useful. But I really thought that he was going for the King Tiger plus Sturm Tiger combination. Weird. Very weird. Ooh. Firefly does come in as a response to the German push from both the Panzer IV command tank and the Panther. I'm thinking that going for the special operations with the command Panther would have been just so much better for Alenyang. And indeed, that would have also freed up Antania to go for something that wasn't Ostrupen. Because I think that he went Ostrupen to support Alenyang. But if Alenyang wanted to go for a Panther, he could have just gone for a command Panther and allowed his ally to go for something else. Because also, the Blitz doctrine, coming in with the command Panzer IV, I don't know. The command Panzer IV would have been useful regardless, but oh well. Brumbear from Antania. Well, it's kind of paying the price. Brumbear that gets absolutely destroyed by the Sherman Firefly plus Stolen Pack combination. That's a ridiculously powerful AT. 2 Sherman Fireflies plus a pack. That is absolutely a nightmare of any German armor. Even a King Tiger, even Panthers in mass, that indeed will absolutely go down to that combination. And, well, the Brumbear kind of took that upon its own shoulders and felt it on its own skin. Very nice. Now, the Sherman Fireflies with the Tulip rockets can stun up the German vehicles for the rest of the anti-tank squad to destroy. And that's absolutely devastating. There goes the command bunker. And I'm guessing that the Allies are on the upswing at this point. Right now, they absolutely need to focus their forces in the north, where right now, ooh, very big retreat coming in from the Americans. Actually, the entire infantry force is going down. Here comes a Stuka Kolosser support on the Jackson. The Panzer IV destroys the ambulance and the... Ooh, very close to destroying the Jackson with the 37mm. Here also comes a strafing support from the Landwehr, and that absolutely demolishes some of the gun crews of the Germans in the center area. The British infantry is pushing through, but there's also some kind of artillery support coming in from one of the sides. Not sure. Here comes the British artillery from the base, kind of hitting their own troops, and the 2 Panzer IVs are doing quite a bit of damage to the German or British infantry that's pushing through. Rocket strafe not really enough to deter these tanks, and for some reason the Fireflies haven't been pushed through. That reason is that one of them hit a mine, and the other one is kind of just standing there, hits a eats a Panzerfaust, and the second Panzerfaust might be coming in to destroy its own engine as well. Right now in the north, the Germans have the area under control. The Panther from Alenyang should definitely come down and try to destroy one of these Fireflies. He's very afraid of the 17-pounder, but he could use Antaria's railway artillery support to force a brace on it and force it to, of course, not fire at the Panther as it comes in. Very conservative play from the Germans. They could have absolutely, I think, pushed their advantage there a lot further against both the Americans and the Brits. They forced a big retreat of their infantry, but then they didn't come in with the armor to support. Right now, there is a Sturm Tiger on the field. Sturm Tiger going to be firing and trying to wipe out these riflemen, but the riflemen do indeed see what's coming and retreat out of the way. Very graceful move out of the way. And, ooh. Wait, what? Oh. So that wasn't the strafing support? No, I guess that was the strafing support, but there's also a P-47 rocket strafe. So, airborne from Puska. Interesting choice. He definitely wants the extra support against armor, but I'm not sure about the paratroopers. I think it's little bit too late to go for paratroopers in that regard. And, well, he's also got the both lieutenant and captain unlocked. So indeed, going for the 50 caliber machine gun and 57mm paradrop isn't really useful at all for him. There's really no reason for him to go airborne, in my opinion, other than maybe just testing things, because again, this is an in-house, so they're probably just testing a lot of stuff as well. Yeah, I really don't like the airborne doctrine all that much by myself. especially in this situation, though. I think that, well, of course, the boring Calliope would have been good, but really, maybe the cavalry company would have been the best for Puska, or even a rifle company to go for some easy 8s would have been better overall. But yeah, the P-47 might be helpful, especially along with the strafing support from Landwehr. It could be surprisingly strong against German vehicles, especially the lighter kind, such as the Panther IVs, etc., etc., because maybe the Germans just aren't expecting it. That would be pretty nice to see from the Americans. And the Brits, of course. Right now, in the meantime, fire support from the British is just being very, very effective against the German troops, forcing them back every time they try a push. And right now, the Allies do have a bit of a lead in the VP game. Of course, they're still down to 146 points. Stug coming in from Gentle Fox. Ooh. So he wants to have a kind of a cheapskate counter to the big tank destroyer horde of the Brits, I'm thinking. Because if you get enough Stugs, then the Sherman Fireflies really aren't going to be very useful overall, because the Stug isn't really something that you need a Sherman Firefly to face, because the Sherman Firefly's reload is quite long. And so the quick fire rate of the Stug plus the target weak point can really destroy Fireflies. But so far, only one Stug for Gentle Fox isn't really going to be enough. Who knows? Who knows? There is a Crocodile on the field for Get Wrecked. Oh, that's absolutely evil. Look at that. Crocodile plus 2 Sherman Fireflies. That's going to be so strong from Get Wrecked. He's absolutely the leading force for the Brits right now. In the Allies overall, I'm thinking. There are two Jacksons on the field for Puska, which are going to be very strong against the Storm Tiger. But the Storm Tiger is looking to destroy some support weapons, hunting them down, and unfortunately for the Germans, the pack manages to survive that because the explosion was just a little bit too far to sort of count as a destruction of a crewed vehicle. Oh, this Focus Grenadier might go down. Focus fire from the Rifleman, not enough. Very unlucky. Right now, also very bad position for that. Stug gets ambushed by some Riflemen and the 17-pounder from the south of Landwehr. Landwehr with the 2 17-pounders also manages to provide some support against the Panther IV command tank. And exactly what I was thinking. Here comes the stun from the Tulip rockets of the Sherman Firefly, along with the Churchill Crocodile destroying all of the packs and also providing itself as a sort of a brick wall, sort of a tank. I know it's a tank, but a tank in an RPG term, as in soaking up all the damage for the 2 Sherman Fireflies to come in and destroy the Panther IV. Panther IV command tank also exposes itself probably a little bit too much. Pioneers trying to reman the pack and realize the mistake that they're making, despite the fact that they have the flamethrower. That doesn't mean they're fireproof, and they manage to escape just so. And of course, right now the Panther took quite a bit of damage, I'm guessing, from these 2 lovely, lovely Jacksons. Jacksons proving their worth, and also the Sturm Tiger not really proving its worth. Now, I love the Sturm Tiger. It is one of my favorite units, but you have to be very careful in its use. What you want to do is, of course, what Elon Yang is doing is really good. He's keeping it kind of back, far away, trying to use shot blockers to hide it from the enemy, using the True Sight system to your advantage. Because, of course, the only way that you know that the Sturm Tiger is firing on you is if you see the Sturm Tiger and you see the animation of the rocket launcher aiming up. That's the only way you can guess that the Sturm Tiger is aiming at you. Of course, it stops, aims up, and fires. So if you have a sort of, I guess, wait, Pack Howitzer not really doing a lot. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking that Pack Howitzer was going to do much, so that's why I didn't waste too much breath on it. Yeah, ooh, Churchill Crocodile saves the weapon crew. But yes, if you know that there's a Sturm Tiger firing on you, if you know that you're in mortal danger from that 380mm rocket launcher, you can just retreat your guys, spread them out, try to avoid it as much as possible, just to, well, you're maybe going to be taking casualties regardless. Oh, here comes the concentrated fire operation, the sort of British railway artillery That's going to be bad for the Panzer headquarters. It's probably going to go down in one barrage. Not really all that good. In the meantime, the Brits are pushing in the center. As you can see, the Stug is going to be forced to retreat, I'm thinking, by these Fireflies. But the Fireflies are going to get forced to retreat by the British or German infantry. Yes, so you can see what's coming and try to avoid it. And at least you're not going to get all of your guys wiped out. But if the Sturmtiger is behind some obstacle... Oh! Railway, concentrated fire misses, but misses kind of a blessing in disguise because it hits the Sturmtiger and shaves off about half of the HP. Unfortunately, the Jacksons try to come in to capitalize on that, and they get absolutely destroyed by the combination of Stugs and AT guns that the Germans had. Very nice usage of those cloaked Rakens, which hadn't really been doing much so far, and the concentrated fire operation doesn't manage to nail the Schwerpanther headquarters. Here comes some strafing support on the German positions in the center. In the meantime, it does look like the Stugs are getting forced away by the V2 Sherman Fireflies. That's not good. But the Sherman Fireflies are pushing up without any kind of infantry support, which is not only bad because they might get jumped by the German infantry, it's also bad because they lack line of sight. If they had infantry providing line of sight for them, that would be much, much better. They would be safer overall. And that would be nice. In the meantime, in the south, the Germans finally sending some troops. Oh, that's a Terminator Ostrupen with some Brens. Finally sending some troops to harass the south. There's absolutely nothing there to protect against an infantry advance, even just a very, very mild one, just like a bit of harassment. Of course, they are redeploying forces, overwhelming ones at that, but that's kind of the point of sending in something to distract them. Oh, that's not good enough, though. That's not good. They chose poorly. They chose poorly, and they were completely destroyed by the Vet-free mortar pit, proving its worth once again for Landwehr. In the meantime, in the north, LL Young has the King Tiger finally at 37 minutes on the field, and this game is going to be long. Here comes a huge tank push from the Germans in the center. Gonna meet some British infantry, and the British infantry are gonna lose a Bren, but they're also gonna be providing intel for the British Fireflies, who now know that there's a big sort of armor concentration in the center. In the meantime, the Panther in the north kind of, I'm thinking, is trying to draw in the American infantry so that then the Sturmtiger and the King Tiger can come in and provide some support. Sturmtiger reverses up to the front. Of course, not exactly the best choice. With the support of both the Panther, the King Tiger, and the Raketenwerfers, I'm guessing that the Sturmtiger is now essentially invulnerable and can work to essentially pick off the American units, the American blob, all at once, or gradually, as it so chooses. In fact, it doesn't do that. It comes in a little bit too close, wipes out one of the American... No, it doesn't wipe out anything. Just wipes out the mortar crew. Oh, well, the mortar crew is really annoying, but yes. The two Fireflies are close enough to assist, but they're kind of scared. There goes a Crocodile. Okay, so the Crocodile pushes up without the support of the Sherman Fireflies. That is probably a mistake of just having the game go on for so long and being kind of exhausted at that. That's really not that good, because the Crocodile was kind of necessary for the support of the Sherman Fireflies. Of course, Get Wrecked right now almost has the resources for a second one, so I'm guessing that he's going to be waiting for the second Crocodile. But that's just still kind of sad to lose the Crocodile, because you're going to have to spend resources in requisitioning a new one, and you're also going to have to spend resources in, of course... Wait, what? Oh, a Centaur. You're also going to have to, of course, lose the veterancy that you had accrued on the vehicle. Here comes the artillery from the Brits. There goes the Panzer IV command tank. No chance. Let's see if Gentle Fox goes for a second one, which might be a good idea to support his Stugs and the two snipers. Looks like one of the snipers went down, but he bought two more snipers. Not the best choice, in my opinion, with so much AoE, so much mechanized slaughter going on all about, to go for a couple of snipers, really frail units. Not sure. Definitely useful against American infantry, though. Puska right now is kind of letting himself hold on by his infantry power and a couple of Jacksons every once in a while, supported by the huge rocket strafes. Right now he's basically just getting so many munitions that he can use that ability on cooldown to force back the German armor just a little bit, just to nudge them back gently with rockets. That sounded like a Soviet song, but yes, that's kind of okay, but that's bad because they don't need to force the Germans back as much as they need to destroy the Germans. And if they let the Germans accrue veterancy on their vehicles, it's going to be really bad late game, even though we're already in the late game. But at least they're so far doing fine. We'll see if it continues to go fine, though. Once the Germans manage to perhaps concentrate their forces a little bit better onto one area, I would try a push in the center if I was the Germans, because if I can shut down that 17-pounder, and I can push, for example, looking at the map, into this area of the map, near the cliff here, and near the central VP. If I can push into that area, I can avoid the forces in the southern part of the map for, I'm guessing, I don't remember, is that, yeah, I think that's Landwehr, from Landwehr, and then try to both damage the American player and the British player in the center. I think that would be a pretty decent strategy. Of course, whatever they do, they really need to concentrate, because the Allies have been playing with a little bit of a better coordination, in my opinion, than the Germans. Ooh, that Jackson very lucky to escape, and here comes the... Yeah, no, it doesn't escape because of the Raketenwerfer? No, because of a Panzerfaust coming in from the Volksgrenadiers. Yes, here comes the American air power, trying to at least force back the German armor a little bit. Here comes the riflemen trying to get some both line of sight and stunning effects, and of course snares on the King Tiger, but they're going to pay for that with their lives. One of the rifleman squads goes down, and that's going to be very, very hard to replace in the late game with so little targets available for them to bet up on. And of course, maybe the desire to build a lot of vehicles with the pop cap. I'm thinking that that rifleman squad isn't going to be coming back anytime soon. Right now, there's a new Schwerpanzer, of course, coming up. I'm thinking about as much for the AA on it than for anything else. Also, very nicely covering the VP. So definitely wants to shield himself against big infantry pushes and wants to shield himself against the air power a little bit more. Because it looks like they got the short end of the stick in the RNG game of which kind of emplacement you get in the base. Because if they had gone the flak emplacements, then the American and British air forces would be having a lot more of a hard time actually doing damage to the Germans, because they'd be getting shut down all the time by the flak emplacements in the base. So far, though, not really a lot of AA coming through from the Germans. Landwehr had that Centaur. Not really sure as to why. He definitely wants to protect against the big German infantry from Antania. Interestingly, Antania, who had all the Ostergren, decided to go for some Grenadiers, and he has upgraded them fairly well. He's gotten the choice of getting a new light machine gun. Looks like he didn't really realize that, though. They're still kind of avoiding the south, remembering what happened last time, but I'm thinking that leaving the south alone like that is still kind of a mistake from the Germans. Here comes a new Churchill Crocodile, finally from Get Wrecked. He's going to be able to use that quite effectively, I think, in the center against the Grenadiers, and also probably against the Stugs. Well, time to speed it up while nothing's happening. Yeah, really, the big thing is that the German forces are kind of deceptively strong, because it's a lot of Stugs, and the Stugs are kind of vulnerable to the air attacks. So they need the backup of Nyang's Panther and his King Tiger. Also, ooh, there goes the Crocodile. Again, pushing up too far without the support of the Fireflies. The Fireflies are busy trying to take out the Stug and the King Tiger in the cliff area. And right now, the King Tiger isn't really carrying too much. One of the Stugs is forced to retreat, but here comes some artillery support from the Brits. But so far, very, very nice win for the Germans. They need to kind of capitalize on it, though, and turn it into territory. Because if they win and then they do not turn that victory into more territory from the engagements... Oh, that's why, because there's 3 snipers from Gentle Fox. they're surviving. That's kind of actually surprising me. I wouldn't have expected these snipers to survive, but they're doing fairly well. King Tiger gets forced to retreat by the two Fireflies. Two Fireflies up to vet free, ridiculous, absolutely strong as hell. And right now, oh, the Sturm Tiger took a rifle grenade from the rifleman. It might go down if these two P-47s manage to nail it enough. Oh, here comes one, here comes the other. A second rocket strafe destroys it just with the last salvo of Holy Moses rockets. Very nice for the Allies, taking out that very annoying vehicle, which unfortunately didn't really realize its full potential yet for Aoyang. He does have the ability to get a second one soon enough. There goes another Stug, shot down by the fusillade of 17-pounder shots from the Sherman Fireflies. As always, the Brits, absolutely champions of destroying single targets quickly and efficiently. A third Sherman Firefly from Landwehr, just trying to support the 17-pounders and trying to support the allies that he has. Actually, kind of to the detriment of his infantry force. He's lost one of the infantry squads that he had, and the other two might not even have enough room to reinforce. The air landing officer that he does have has been fairly useful because of the ability to do the officer charge. He has been running that around the map, but not really getting a lot of kills. The Centaur hasn't really done much. He's really been relying a lot on the mortars. Well, look at that. 43 kills on that mortar. Absolutely ridiculous. There goes the Pioneers from Antania. Antania resorting to Pioneers as a sort of a quick throw it in the meat grinder as a sort of stopgap measure to get some map control underway, so to get some capping power. And also, of course, to get some targets for the enemy stuff. But not really working out all too well. The Free Stugs have been still alive for him, but his ally really has been struggling with the Stug game, Gentle Fox. He has gone for an Ostwind, which is an interesting choice. As you can see, 4 vehicles destroyed for the Ostwind. That means 4 aircraft kills. Probably a smart choice considering what's been happening lately. There goes a German aircraft, shot down by the Centaur most likely. There goes one of the Stugs again. Gentle Fox going a little bit too aggressive with those. Nicely using, however, the other Stug to destroy it to prevent the capture from the enemy. Oh, there goes the Brumbear, unfortunately, in the center for Antania. Most likely going to go down to the fire of the Sherman Fireflies. Very nicely using the target weak point on this Vet 2 Stug to focus down one of these vet-free Sherman Fireflies and prevent it from firing, but that wasn't enough to save the Brumbear. Right now, it looks like the Allies are regaining the initiative, and because of the huge amounts of German losses in their armor compartments, partially due to the fact that they went a little bit overboard on the lighter side of things, medium vehicles such as the Stugs, the Panzer IVs, the Panzer IV Command Tank, the Ostwind, because they didn't have enough heavy stuff to sort of take the hits and deal the damage in return, they weren't really able to push through. However, going for heavy tanks wouldn't absolutely have guaranteed victory because of all the Sherman Fireflies. So it's really a bad situation that the Germans are got themselves in, because they lost their infantry edge due to all the artillery. Well, not really all the artillery, but due to the mortar pits and some of the artillery support from the Brits. And they weren't really able to rebuild their infantry advantage. Aoyang even losing pretty much all of his glorious infantry force. He wasn't really able to rebuild it. And so the fact that they lost the infantry edge kind of gave the Allies more leeway to build a lot of AT vehicles such as the Fireflies and the Jacksons, which kind of meant that the Germans really weren't able to use their tanks effectively either, which is kind of a shame. Right now, Aoyang doesn't really have the pop cap to get for a second Sturm Tiger, because he's reached the pop cap. He's gone for a lot of Raketenwerfers, which is a decent idea against the Fireflies, but he has to remember that there's those mortar pits on the field, that there's the Allied infantry superiority, and there's also the Crocodile, which can be very, very strong against the Raketenwerfers. Crocodiles need to absolutely be used a little bit more conservatively by Get Wrecked. He's at the third Crocodile, and he's sending that one in a little bit too aggressively too. Realizes this mistake, though, and manages to escape. very nicely. 3 snipers from Gentle Fox are gonna be quite useful at sort of at least suppressing the American and British infantry, but not really gonna be enough in the overall game to regain infantry superiority for the Germans. In the meantime, in the north, we do see some attempts at a push from Puska, and that's fine, but I think that he should be mostly concentrating on capturing the center, because right now the Allies have 120 VPs left. That isn't really a lot, not a lot of points under their belt. That would be 3 minutes, I believe. No, like 9 minutes of 9 minutes of bleed left. At a double cap, of course. Well, no, 6 minutes of bleed left at a double cap. And that's really not a lot, considering that the game has been going for 53 minutes. Another sniper from Antania. Well, a sniper from Antania too. Like, not sure what this sniper fetish is supposed to be about. I'm guessing they're trying to both spot for their other units and deal damage to the allied infantry, but... Oh, well, it's kind of been working. Landwehr has no infantry. And he also is calling in his own crocodile. Interesting. So the second crocodile from... crocodile from a second British player. That's going to be fairly dangerous for both... Lots of artillery coming down. Gonna be fairly dangerous for the snipers and also for the support weapons of the Germans, but not really all that dangerous for the Stugs. The huge Stug horde is still gonna be going with the Stug life and trying to ooh, there goes the rear echelon troops going down to the snipers. Kind of going in piecemeal is exactly what the Allies need to not be doing. There goes the rear echelons. And yeah, they went in, the American infantry went in without the support of both the American vehicles and the Brits. Finally, the support comes in and they take out one of the Command Panzer IVs, which is, I guess, a pretty decent trade for a rear echelon troop. Of course, that rear echelon troop had 2 bazookas, and now those bazookas will be, might be falling into the hands of the Germans, which I'm guessing the Allies will be agreeing that those are the wrong hands. And right now, in the north, we do see a bit of a push from Liang. King Tiger has been doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, soaking up tons of damage and dealing damage to the allied infantry in return. Here comes some strafing runs from the Typhoons, trying to push back the Stugs. No support coming in from the P-47s, though, so far. P-47 is available to Puska. He also has gone for one of the airborne units, the paratroopers, and upgraded them, so they're going to be fairly strong against the German infantry, but not really all that strong when 3 snipers come calling. Here comes a huge tank push from the Brits, trying to support the Americans in the north, but absolutely quick response coming in from the Wehrmacht players, exactly what the Wehrmacht players needed to do, kind of separating the Churchills from the tank destroyers and the Centaur. Centaur gets hit by the Stuka close air support, thus being stunned a little bit. There goes one of the, I'm guessing that was the Landwehr, yes, that was Landwehr's Firefly. There goes one of the Stugs, however, shot down by the Church of Crocodile. That was actually no, that was the Sherman Firefly. Where's the other Crocodile? Oh, it's up here. Yes, indeed. It seems like the Germans do win the tank engagement, but not without their losses. And indeed, also some of their units need to escape to gain back their hit points. And in fact, LL Liang lost the last remnants of his glorious infantry force, and he now has enough pop cap for the Sturm Tiger once again. Right now, it looks like the Ostwinds and the Sturmpanzer quarters have been paying off, but there goes the mistake coming in from the Sturm Tiger. Tries to bring itself up to fire on the Fireflies, but it doesn't hit them, and it also gets... Wait, what? Oh, smoke grenade. Oh, use the smoke grenade. Wait, what? Wasn't that? What was that smoke grenade? Wait, what? What was that smoke grenade? I'm very confused. Because that smoke just saved the Sturm Tiger. And I'm not sure what that was. That's hilarious. What was that? Was that a... No. I am absolutely dumbfounded as to what that smoke was. I thought it was the... Maybe that was a allied ability? But why would you fire smoke at a retreating enemy tank? Oh, here comes a Gammon Bomb on those Ostrupen. The Ostrupen miraculously survive, only to get absolutely cooked by the Church of Crocodile. As they always say, a late cooking is the best. That was kind of a flambe. So I guess, well, I will try to figure out what happened there. Railway, well, yeah, right. Concentrated fire being used to destroy the Rekenwerfer. Right now, a bit of all quiet on the Western Front. Of course, ooh, this Church of Crocodile absolutely needs to be used in concert with the Sherman Fireflies and the Jacksons. Here comes a bit of a push from the Allies, using the infantry to spearhead nothing. What? I thought that it would be followed up by the British armor. British armor coming in pretty much all too late. Kind of allowing the German tanks to escape the trap. Also coming in with the rocket strafes, forcing them back. Very, very good job, of course. Oh, very unlucky for the King Tiger. It gets kind of stuck in between all the vehicles from... who's that? Gentle Fox, right. But still, if there had been Sherman Fireflies to support that push and to stun up the German vehicles... Oh, okay. It looks like the Germans preemptively airstriked the Shermans. I'm guessing that that's a Stuka Close Air Support. Yes, indeed it is. So very good job from the Germans, kind of preemptively preventing the deployment of Allied armor. There goes the Sherman Pioneers, very lucky to survive. 2 Rekenwerfers are being bought to replace the lost ones by El Yang. Of course, very, very useful. Need to absolutely be used a little bit more, perhaps defensively, to keep them alive as much as possible. An anti-tank gun is taken the field. Interesting little choice. So the little Rekenwerfer... Oh no, that was the Rekenwerfers, never mind. I thought that was a pack gun coming in. So Gentle Fox has been rebuilding. He has 3 Pioneers, 1 Grenadier, and 1 Panzer Grenadier, which means that his infantry force is fairly strong. But there's a demo charge. There's a demo charge from the Commandos from Landwehr. Oh, very lucky that this Ostrupen... Well, why would you detonate a demo charge against the Ostrupen? I am not sure, but still. The Ostrupen do get indeed wiped out by the Glider Commandos. These indeed are from the Command Glider that Landwehr deployed in a very interesting position. Well, that's quite a slide. That's quite a slide coming down from that glider. Well, I guess the Commandos are the best trained troops around. They do also do weird physical exercises. They can also do the jumps. They do their own stunts. Right now... Oh, the snipers actually are absolutely murdering everything. So the Commandos are forced away. The American infantry is forced away. Finally, though, Landwehr goes for a ton of Royal Engineers. The Royal Engineers will definitely be strong against the snipers, if only for the fact that they're not really... They're kind of expendable. Well, he doesn't have enough pop cap, though, to get free of them. So they're still going to be going down fairly quickly if only 1 squad is deployed. That's unfortunate. Has he gone for the... yes, he's gone for the hammer tactics. So, yeah, right, both British players have gone for the hammer tactics, so no heavy engineers coming in to slow down the engineer movement speed. In the meantime, in the center, the Germans have gotten a couple of AT guns that are absolutely getting demolished by the mortar emplacement right now. Indeed, it does look like a new pack was built by Antaria. Probably not the best decision considering the amount of mortar fire coming in to the center. And right now, both the Allies and the Germans are coming down to their last VPs. This is indeed the moment of decision. Here comes the big British push, supported by both the Centaur and the Crocodile, or rather spearheaded by that. Very nicely avoiding the fire of that Sturm Tiger, but the Sturm Tiger has managed to be a bit of a deterrent for the Fireflies, which have, in the meantime, been sitting back to avoid the fire of the Sturm Tiger. and that's kind of allowed the Crocodile to get absolutely demolished by the German anti-tank horde that is sitting in the center. And right now, it's also kind of getting absolutely demolished by some strafing runs. It's going to have to retreat very, very quickly if it doesn't want to be destroyed. Here comes a Stug, a couple of Stugs from Gentle Fox, but they're running straight into the nothingness, nothingness of German troops, but everythingness of Allied troops. There's a ton of Fireflies there ready to absolutely demolish them very, very quickly. Right now, both sides have used their artillery and air supports, but the Allies still have something in reserve, which is the P-47 rocket strafe, and perhaps coming in soon, the concentrated fire operations in 30 seconds, whereas the Germans don't really have enough munitions or recharge rates to use some of their abilities. They've also got the Sturmtiger reloading and 2 German tanks, the OKW ones, aka the most important ones. They are still repairing their HP, which is really, really important because they're very heavily vetted up and they're pretty much the best units that the Germans have. So right now, if the Allies manage to repair their vehicles quicker than the Germans can, which is very unlikely, but it's possible, they can come in and come into a depleted Wehrmacht force, because Antaria has only gotten 1 Stug, and Gentle Fox, of course, only has 1 Stug as well, along with the support of the Command Panzer and the Ostwind, which, of course, against the Allied tanks isn't really going to be doing much. And also just lost one of their Canbervers, and the other pack might be... Sorry, I just smacked my mic. The other pack might be going down if the big artillery barrage is coming from the Allies. The Allies could be pushing into a very weakened German force. Of course, right now, King Tiger has been repaired thanks to the automatrons from the Mechanized Regiment headquarters and the tons of pioneers that are just piling on that vehicle to support the repairs. Right now, the Sturmtiger is reloaded, but we'll see whether or not it can actually do anything, because right now, the Sturmtiger hasn't really been used all that well, in my opinion, from Young throughout this game. And right now, here comes a pretty huge flame barrage from the Crocodile, forcing back one of the AT guns. Here comes the railway artillery trying to stop the British push, at least for the moment. Right now, the rocket strafe from, I'm guessing that's the Americans, yes indeed, it's Pruska's rocket strafe, along with the concentrated fire, might be dealing damage to the Germans in the meantime, but the Allies are grabbing the center VP. The Germans are only down to 49 VPs, which means about 3 minutes left for them. They absolutely need to recapture it, but there's the Crocodile sitting nearby, kind of giving them both, well, the fears and also the flames, so they're kind of prevented from capturing the point. They might be well served with going in the south, but finally, Get Wrecked has gone for a Boys AT rifle, command anti-tank sections. That's a pretty big sea of metal there that's kind of stuck in a traffic jam, and that's very bad because here comes the Stuka close air support from the Allies, or the Germans, but the Germans come in with their vehicles and lose the Panther. Panther is being replaced by Eonyang, but that's not going to be enough because the Panther was Vet 4, so it's not going to be replaced at all by a new Panther. That's not going to be enough. 2 Jacksons in the north coming in and destroying one of the Stugs, and the German offensive seems to be taking huge, horrible casualties. In the meantime, the 2 Crocodiles are still well and live and are able to absolutely stifle the German push towards Center VP and force these Sturm Pioneers to hopefully retreat out of the flaming, scorching inferno that is the Central VP right now. And the 2nd Crocodile completing the Scorched Earth policy against the Central VP, forcing back, hopefully, the Grenadiers, but not before the Grenadiers indeed capture the point. But to what cost? They almost die, and the Stug gets destroyed in their support, in their in the same sort of area. Right now, here comes a big artillery barrage from someone. Oh, strafing support from Landwehr, forcing back the King Tiger. I'm not sure why. The King Tiger could have been staying there, in my opinion, and just eating up the damage. But most importantly, providing strafing support against the support weapons that are right now over here, along with some artillery barrage coming in from the base of the British players. That's going to be probably forcing back the MG, and might be also forcing back the 2 packs, which is going to be enough for the Crocodiles and the Fireflies to come in and support in the center. The Germans are down to 24 VPs, also because the Americans were able to come in and sacrifice one of the airborne squads. However, well, not entirely sacrificed, it seems, one of the airborne squads to capture or at least neutralize the northern VP. So right now the Allies are in a pretty good position. What happened? Oh no, okay, never mind. The center, however, has been recaptured by the Germans, which is very, 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 very useful for the Germans. And the free snipers are still alive and still getting kills. That's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. 21 plus 31 plus 46. Wow, look at that. So 96, 98 kills from all of the snipers. That's absolutely ridiculous. And they're still going to be providing lots of damage against the approaching Allied troops to the northern VPs. In the meantime, however, the Germans are losing in the tank war. There goes one of the Jacksons, but there goes the Stug as well. And the Stugs can be replaced slower than the Jackson can, because as you can see, Puska has 900 fuel at his disposal, whereas, well, I'm guessing that was Gentle Fox. Gentle Fox only has 64 fuel. So, paradoxically enough, the Stug loss kind of hurts more than the Jackson's loss. Right now, the mortars are still providing fire support. They have destroyed two of the 4 support weapons that are supporting the Germans in the center. Here comes a new MG, a bet-free one, but it's going to get absolutely destroyed by the Centaur. Centaur not using the strafing run because Landwehr is out of munitions. Absolutely ridiculous. Here comes because he's used a raid operation because that allows his units to capture points more quickly. But the heroic pioneers here actually force back the Allied infantry and prevent it from capturing. In the meantime, the north is kind of safe under the German influence, and there's a huge artillery barrage that the British are pulling into the center to try at least force back the big German troop concentration in the area, which is kind of menacing the Allied VP reserve, because of course they almost recaptured the point, but they are forced to retreat, and the AT gun is destroyed, which is also a very, very big kind of impediment for, I'm not sure that's English, but yes, it's kind of a big obstacle for the Germans and their ability to hold the center, because that AT gun would have been very, very useful against the Fireflies and the Crocodile. Where is Landwehr's force? It's dead. So one of the Churchill Crocodiles is almost dead. There goes the Sherman Firefly over here, and that's not exactly what Landwehr wanted to do. It's also not what Get Wrecked wanted to do. He's still got another Sherman Firefly though, so he's still got the 2 big vetted ones at his disposal, and right now he's trying to... Is that a British sniper? Oh no, it's just the tank hunters using the Boys AT rifles, which sounds exactly the same as the 50 cal sniper. Okay, so King Tiger up to vet 4 could be using the Spearhead ability, which decreases the, of course, sort of range of which you can turn around the turret to 90 degrees forward, but faster turret rotation and longer sight range. And I believe also, well, I thought there was more fire rate as well, but oh well, never mind. So right now, the Germans do have 2 VPs as opposed to the Allied 1 VP, which is, of course, very dangerous for the Allies, as they are down to 70 VPs, but the Germans are down to 11. And if the Allies can concentrate and make a big, concentrated, single push against this big concentration of Germans in the center, they can probably manage to succeed. They have the support of a lot of artillery behind them. They have a fairly decent infantry force in Get Wrecked infantry section blob, and then they also have the big support coming in from the Fireflies, which is exactly what they want to do. Right now the packs are trying to support that. Here comes some P-47s trying to at least damage the German vehicles in the area, using also the paratroopers to try and at least force back the anti-tank gun. Doesn't work. Here comes the Sherman Tiger without any support in the north, kind of outside of its preferred position, but also manages to stun up one of the Sherman Fireflies and maybe could be forcing it out of the fight because of the repairs. At the same time, here comes the raid operation from Landwehr, but he gets absolutely shot down by the snipers. Snipers absolutely proving their worth once again. Here comes the Commandos trying to stealth right into the point, but the stealth isn't really going to be working because, oh, the P-47s destroy one of the snipers with rockets and force another one to retreat with more yet rockets. And the King Tiger is going to be forced to deal with this commando push all on his own. The second Panther takes a lot of damage and is forced to retreat. In fact, it's forced to go into the graves of hell by the American and British anti-tank tank destroyers. Here comes some paratroopers right in the middle of the German force. Not sure as to why that is. Perhaps to provide more line of sight. But there are no line of sight requiring abilities being fired at the moment for the Allies. And right now, the Allies are down to 50 points. They're trying another push with Get Rex Infantry. But Get Rex Infantry is kind of going in half by half, kind of piecemeal. He's kind of coming in with 2 infantry squads at a time, and that's not good when you have 4 of them available. He has gotten the infantry section in the south out of the trench and is now trying to move them up to support in the center to at least try to occupy the Germans a little bit longer. Here comes a huge horde of sappers and a vehicle crew from the Americans to repair the Church of Crocodile. There goes one of the Sherman Fireflies from the Raketenwerfers. Very, very nice usage of that from Yang, and also the pack from Gentlefox. But here comes the big push. Tons of infantry sections and, in general, Brits coming in for the center. The machine gun is menacing to pin them down before they can actually do anything. Here comes a bit of a strafing run from the Germans, but the Centaur might be able to stifle that attempt. Centaur indeed might be going down himself, shoots down one of the planes. Right now, the King Tiger is doing all he can, but he has way too many targets. He has only got 1 gun and like 17 different targets to shoot at. And he's also getting shot at by planes from 2 different directions from the P-47 rocket strafe. Here comes the Sturm Tiger's rounds, but also here comes the concentrated fire operation from the Brits, destroying one of the Panzer IVs. Interesting. Sturm Tiger almost takes out... The second Sturm Tiger has been doing much, much better than the first one, by the way. Takes out... Oh, there goes the P-47. Takes out a lot of the British infantry there and allows the Germans to come in and get some capturing going. Churchill doing a bit of sort of guerrilla fire warfare, I guess. Coming in, burning up the place, and getting out to avoid getting shot up. Also, paratroopers being para-dropped in, absolutely proving their worth, kind of making me eat my words with the doctrine selection from Puska, using those to prevent the German capture of the point, along with the Crocodile. But at the same time, the Germans have the Ostwind coming in. The Ostwind has been getting his stripes, earning his stripes at shooting airplanes, and now he's vet-free and ready to shoot at some infantry that is now trying to absolutely desperately capture the VP in the center. There is absolutely nothing going on in both the north and the south because there's too many fortifications from both players, and that's kind of a shame because I would have indeed liked to see some harassment going down there. But at this point, the both sides have to absolutely pile in everything they have onto the central battleground. Here comes a bit of an attempt from the Germans. It's shot down by the Royal Engineers. And these veteran tank hunters coming in from the south of the map, also providing some support. Another airborne squad being dropped in and gets absolutely shot down by the King Tiger, and that's going to be the end because of the capturing from the Allies. Only 11 points left for the Germans. They go down after an hour and 16 minutes. GG from both sides. 77 kills for the King Tiger. Vet 5, along with 30 kills from the Sturm Tiger. Other big strong units, the snipers. Snipers indeed being forced away by the rocket strafe. Very good doctrine pick by Puska that was absolutely unexpected for me. He was able to use the perks of airborne in an unexpected way. Well, yeah, one thing is that in very contested games, the ability to pair-drop units right into the fight, whenever you have a bit of a manpower reserve, can be very, very useful. Because you can pair-drop them right into the fight, and you can also pair-drop them near VPs that normally aren't really protected. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. That aren't really protected to do a bit of a sneak cap. Of course, this wasn't available for the Germans, or for the Allies. And yeah, that's kind of sad. But really, main mistake was sometimes lack of harassment. Really, the south and the north were sometimes held quite ferociously by both sides and quite fortified. But overall, I'm thinking that both sides could have been forcing the enemies, especially in the mid game, to provide more and more defenses for these two sides to provide more defenses there to, of course, open up the way for a push in the center with some harassment. Of course, the task for the Germans would have gone to Antania with the Ostrupen and to the, I'm guessing, Americans for the Allies with the Royal Engineers, or, sorry, Rear Echelon troops. Both start with R, so I get confused because that's just how smart I am. Other than that, I think that the Germans should have been trying to destroy these mortars a little bit more. I mean, they're not really that hard to destroy, and I think that in this game, taking the time to destroy these two mortars would have been better than taking 78 plus 19 infantry casualty. No, 18. So 16, 86, 96 infantry casualties from these two mortars, plus a building casualty and a vehicle casualty from these two mortars. Not exactly what you want to happen, and I'm guessing that the vehicle was a destroyed MG crew or AT gun crew, or I guess weapon. But yeah, I've talked enough. Very good usage, by the way, of Collins off maps from both sides. That's something that I incredibly enjoyed from both sides. Using them in such a good way isn't really usually seen in Company of Heroes. Definitely shows how coordinated these two sides were. I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this cast. Hope you've learned a lot from it. Not something, a lot, because there's a lot to learn from this one. And I'll see you soon.